fact, I'll start at the third one. I hear this more often than anyone. I expect him or her to be more involved in family activities. No more excuses. And when I ask people, what does that mean to you? They all say, well, he or she uses the male, though. Anytime we want to go out or do something together as a family, they always got an excuse. They too tired. They don't want to go. Right? So if they're clean and sober, then I expect them to be more involved in family activities. That way, when I get to grandma's birthday party, cousin Bob's barbecue, I don't have to ask, where's little Johnny or where's little Mary? How come they didn't come this time? Right? Because here's the other thing that family members, we will invent a new story for them. Or they got called in to work. Or just before we got ready to leave, they got sick and they were throwing up. All kind of shit. Well, see, if I'm being clean and sober and doing what I'm supposed to do, then I don't have to make up stories for them. Because they'll be there. They'll be present. Clear-headed. Clear-headed is just what it says. I expect them to be thinking logically, not be in a fog all the time. I expect them not to have an excuse for everything or get rid of that infamous, I don't know. You know. Because as I tell people, and I guess I did it, I don't know, probably did. Because when I didn't want to answer something directly or truthfully, it's easy to say, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Where did you just come from? I don't know. What? You know, honesty. If they're actually working their program, they're not drinking and using, then I expect them to tell me the truth. Now, I always tell people there's a big difference between honesty and trust. And I know we talked about this last week or the week before last. I always tell people, trust is something that's earned. But trust is earned through your honesty. I believe it was Ann's fiance who said, I don't trust her anymore. I said, okay, but one of the things I always tell family members and friends and whoever was sitting in here, it took time for us to destroy that trust. Family members and friends will still give us that trust, even when it's honest, it's obvious that we're untrustworthy. But once we get to that point where they say, I don't trust you anymore, I don't believe you, it's going to take time to rebuild that trust. But all reestablishing trust begins with, I got to be honest. And see, when family members say, I expect them to be honest with me, that's the only thing they ask for is the truth. If I ask you a simple question, don't say, I don't know. Say sometimes the truth may be painful. Sometimes the truth can be obvious. But guess what? The truth is the truth and it never changes. Now this is one that one of my patients said, well, suppose they asked me, said, did I have a drink last night? And I tell them, yeah, I did. So that may be the truth, but then they're going to get upset. I said, they shouldn't get upset about the truth. Then they should ask you, then, why did you set yourself if you were serious about staying clean and sober, why did you have that dream? See, because the truth, I mean, I can't get upset about the truth. It would be like me letting my son drive my car back in the day when he was younger. And he come back with an empty gas tank. If I ask him, how come you ain't putting no gas in the car? He can't say, I don't know. Now he can say, well, Dad, I didn't have no money, which would have been a lie because he always had my charge card. Or how about, I didn't want to stop. Even now, this man is 41 years old. And when I'm up in Boston, my daughter-in-law is paranoid about riding by with anyone besides herself. And even when we're driving my husband's car, her husband's car, my son's car, she'll go, oh, shoot, he ain't putting no gas in there. And I'm up there pumping the gas. I say, what do you mean he didn't put it? He said, he hates going to the filling station. Say, he'll pay the bill, but say, it takes an act of God to get Charles to go out there and pump gas in the car. Say, he ever run out of gas? Say, yeah, he's called a couple of times a day. I ran out of gas on the last turnpike. She told me, you better call AAA because I'm not coming out. Well, honesty is a big thing in family recovery. Individual personal honesty is a major step to rebuilding trust. If I know you're being truthful with me, if I know you're being honest with me, then I can start to trust you more. See, this is the other thing about family members and friends. They've been around me enough to know, as my wife said, I can always tell when you're lying. I said, why? She said, because the corner of your mouth with the twitch. I'm like, what? She said, I never said nothing to you, but I knew. No, you didn't. You just making excuses. A positive attitude. Now, one of the things that I tell family members and friends is they go through this recovery process. Initially, you're going to see a lot of what you think is anger, them being mad, them being uncomfortable. Because that's them, their bodies and their brains adjusting to the absence of that substance in their body. Because our bodies, our mind become addicted to operating under the influence. So, initially for the first 30, 40 days, you might say, damn, they grumpy, they this, they that, okay. But eventually you should start to see a more positive attitude. See, I think I'm one of the most positive people I know today. In fact, my wife gets upset because I wake up every day singing Smitty and stuff. She's like, why do you get up every morning singing that stupid ass song? I say, because I don't like it. You know, a person I know can wake up at 4:30 in the morning and be just done. I say, what I got to be mad about? I'm sober and I'm alive. I said, why do you ask me this every day? There's two things my wife ever asks me every day. I don't get it. See, that's when I think she may be a little nutty. She always asks me about how come I get up singing Zippy the Doodah every day. And on the way to work, when I'm taking her to work at 4:30 in the morning, she always asks me this. What do you want for dinner today? It's 4:30 in the morning. My focus is on getting you to work. I ain't thinking about what I'm going to eat at 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. Damn. Then she get back. You don't never know what you want to eat. Whatever you cook. I'll celebrate. You cooked it, I'll celebrate. Hey, you gonna be in smart ass. Why are you asking me this at 4:30 in the morning? But this positive attitude is a realistic expectation. Like I said, don't expect it to be positive right now. But down the line, if I'm staying sober, I'm doing what I say I'm going to do, what do I have to be negative about? If the sun came up and I got up, I always tell people, if I wake up in the morning and on the way to getting up out of the bed, my ankles sound like a bag of marbles and my knees hurt, I'm celebrating that because that means I'm alive. If I ever wake up one day pain-free, I'm in trouble. Trust me. So I don't worry about the little stuff. Why are you not your head for sitting?
Because I never thought about it like that.
What?
It means that you're still alive. That's true.
See, sometimes, you know, I learned a long time ago you have to celebrate the small victories. And my small victories are defined by me, not by other people. That's okay. And see, a small victory with me, you know, yeah. I had to put my body through a lot to have these rocky ankles and these sore knees and a neck that I can't turn but one way. But I'm still here. So if I ever woke up and I didn't have these things, it'd be, uh-oh, did I cancel Christmas and forgot to? See, those cancel Christmas is another Smitty term. I always tell people, I want to die the day after Christmas, whatever year I die. Why? Because I want to see what I got for Christmas Day. See, it'd be messed up to die the day after Thanksgiving. I mean, come on. I'm less than 30 days away from opening the presents. Y'all can pump me up, put me on some artificial oxygen or shit. Just make sure I get over Christmas gifts.
Artificial oxygen? What are you talking about?
I guess he's talking about being ventilated.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what I meant. That's just a Smitty term, artificial oxygen.
Like if
Okay.
you intubated, you know how you're
Or
breathing through the
Smittyville.
machine? That type of thing.
And you know what? I might drop dead in the middle of July. But at least I got my Christmas gifts last year. Don't get me this close to Christmas and just... I'll be just laying there in the box mad with a frown on my face. What is he mad about? My wife said, he didn't get me over his Christmas gift. And I told her, don't be wasting time putting shit in the casket with me either. That don't count. Better health, less ER visits. For a lot of patients, a lot of, especially men for some reason neglect their health. They get overweight, all these problems and stuff. So if I'm clean and sober, I should see a better improvement not only in your attitude but in your health. Because now you got time to take care of yourself. I often tell people when I got sober, I was weighing around 235, 240. By the time I retired from the Army, I was that lean fight machine every wall. Because I started taking better care of myself. Less ER visits. Because a lot of times, people with substance abuse problems, especially people with prescription drug problems, they always ODing and being taken to the ER and incubated and all that crazy stuff. For me, my ER visit was because of me and my colleagues. I had 8 colleagues. When they redid Wolford Hall many years ago, I was upset when they didn't rename the ER after me. I'm like, shit, why didn't they just call this the Smitty ER? Whoever they named it after, I'm not gonna do that. He probably ain't been here but once. This is my 7th time. Shit, I don't get a plaque or nothing. I'm not gonna positive attitude of it twice. Who's supposed to hold me accountable?
You're riding the horse. You're riding the horse.
What?
You're riding the horse.
I'm riding one horse.
You're riding the horse.
Oh, okay. So, any other expectations? You have any expectations of women?
Victim, you know, just
Stop being the victim.
Yeah, stop being the victim.
Ooh, that's a biggie. That's a big explanation. Dun, 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 dun. See, he even gets his own music. How about you, Miss Kid? You got any expectations of him?
Of him?
Yes.
She really wants to say grow back hair, but
What?
That's not gonna happen, so.
Ain't that what they got positive for? Whatever they got? I don't know why, but in the morning I always wonder about all these things, these crazy commercials, these positive commercials. Then after that, 2 minutes later, somebody else said, "Bipolar is better. I'll put this cap on your head and radiate your skull." See, I got
Laser
that
beams and
going on. Don't worry
aliens.
about my head. If it's there, it's ready. My only concern is I'm going to get some, what is it, Grecian Formula 97 or whatever. Of course, my wife tells me I can't do that, so I have to. We'll come back to you. Juan, you got any expectations of your wife, or family, or friends?
Honestly, right now, I feel like they're the ones who should be asked that.
What do you think they expect of you?
The more involved in family activities.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about this one? I think every family has this out.
My wife made a comment a while back about the clear-headedness, I guess it was on that. She goes, that she's noticed since she's known me that it's really easy to get me to agree to things when I'm drinking. You know what I mean? And what she meant by that, she's like, you know, one of the kids will come up to me and, you know, be in the garage. That's where I usually drink.
Hang out, yeah.
And,
That's your man cave.
yeah,
Garage.
pretty much, yeah. And, they'll come, one of the kids will come up and, you know, can I have $50? Without even asking why, I pull out the wallet here. Right? And then the next day, did I give you $50? She's like, no, you gave it to Melanie or James or Abigail. And that's when she goes, you see, if you weren't drinking, you wouldn't have given them that money. Why are you giving them $50 just because they're asking for it? You know, and I'm
Well,
like,
see-
well, I already gave it to them. She goes, that's not the point.
One
What
of
else can somebody get you to do or whatever without them actually having that?
One of the statements my son made to me when he was like 10, 11 years old, he says, "Dad, you know I love you." I said, "I love you too." He says, "You know, I'm so glad you clean." So I said, "Yeah." He said, "But you know the bad part about that?" I said, "What?" He says, "I'm always drunk." I said, "What?" He said, "When you was drinking and doing crazy shit, anytime you did some messed up stuff, one thing you just give me $10, $20 and said, don't tell mom."
Yeah.
He said, "Now you don't do crazy stuff, so I'm always broke. Only thing I give you my allowance." So then, see, because I can flip the script on my son and tell him, "Harvey, that means you owe me some change, brother." See, that's the other thing about little kids. You ever notice when you send the kids to the store or whatever, they never bring the change back. All right, you ready?
Just to feel safe and I don't mean physically safe. I mean, safe that,
Like reassurance?
reassurance. Like he said earlier, you know, my biggest fear is like him taking the kids. Cause he's mentioned, he's like, have you seen those videos where someone ODs at Walmart? And he's like, CPS will come and take your kids away from you. And, cause then I feel like I'm getting threatened.
But
So,
why is the statement of fact a
it
threat?
just does, so, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, I'm telling you that's how I feel.
I know, I'm not saying you feel, but sometimes we have to question our feelings.
Yeah, and then also, just, you know, he's got some pent-up anger towards me. And so, the stuff that would normally make him mad will make him mad.
Okay.
Do you feel like there's resentment?
Oh, I know there is. At least, I feel that way. I can't say I know there is. I feel that way.
Put those over in that box, we'll come back to those later.
Expectations. If I think about that, it would be towards my mom.
Who's doing
So, my mom, I wish that she would understand and how I feel. And I guess not, I don't want to feel like I'm being judged all the time. And I got on this new med last week, and then even my cousin saw that I was like, my facial expressions were like not, I wasn't realizing that I was like doing some facial expressions because of the medicine, I guess, caused that. And then when my mom was looking at me, she kept looking at me and looking at me, and she even said, oh, well, you sure you didn't take something, that maybe you drank something or you took something. And I got upset. So I wish that she wouldn't judge me so quickly.
How about being suspicious?
Suspicious, yeah. And then when I mentioned it to my doctor, they said, okay, well, instead of twice a day, just take it one time at night.
Because sometimes our suspicions are based on our past experience.
Yeah.
And no matter how honest we are, is trying to make the best of it. Only thing other people see is us, our expressions. It's like I always tell people, the big difference between feelings and emotions is this. Our feelings are internal. What people see externally, though, is our emotional reactions to our feelings. That's what they see. That's what they react to. All right. You, sir.
I guess I'm here to support Cindy with this, and I guess it just expected to be open.
Be open and honest.
Because I try to kind of encourage that with her by showing her like openness and open-mindedness on like on my part. Just something that kind of makes it a little easier to communicate and then talk about it.
Because, see, the only thing we can do is be as open and honest as we can possibly be. The other thing about it, though, and it doesn't make which side of the fence you're on, we can only be the best we can be. How other people receive our effort, though, may not be what we expect. Hector, expectations.
Maybe just for my family, my immediate family, maybe to be supportive or respect my decision not to drink. Like I told you, that's what we do.
Right?
We all drink.
Have they made any type of negative
No,
statements to you, or
no, not yet.
not yet?
But it's not so much negative. It's you go to a party and it's like, here you go.
Because that's what we do.
Yep.
Or do you feel like they're gonna start to ignore you,
No, they want to ignore me.
even though you're not?
How can you ignore Hector?
No, but I'm saying in a sense, like if you're not drinking, you know,
No.
they'll tend to
No,
neglect
no,
and
it's more
speak to
of,
you more
when they
often.
start drinking more and more, they'll be like, here you go, here's a beer, here's a beer,
They'll
here's a beer.
forget.
Yeah, here's a
Oh.
beer. And they'll be like, fuck it, here's a beer, here's a beer.
Yeah.
You only live once. Here's a
Oh,
beer,
yeah.
here's a beer.
Yeah, but I wanna
here's
keep
a
on
beer.
living though.
Yeah.
How about you, Michelle?
You know, one of the reasons I married Hector is because he is a family man when it comes to his brothers and sisters.
Okay.
It's our immediate family when I mean our children and as husband and wife where we struggle. But it means I love his family. Everybody gets along. He's got 11 brothers and sisters, but they're all alcoholics or at one point, you know. And not all of them, but most of them. And because he doesn't have outside friends, it's mostly his family. The expectation is that he will put himself in the situation with the younger brother, or is it a safe place to put yourself if you're trying to be sober? To hang out with the
Oh, yeah.
single brother who's the alcoholic.
It goes back to where you keep the same type of environment.
Right. If you know that you've been down the road with bad decisions, hanging out in this
Well, you know,
situation, why keep putting yourself
The
in that environment?
we talked about that last night. Identifying those slippery places and slippery people. And as easy as it may sound to do, sometimes we're reluctant to do that because we think we're losing something.
What do you mean
See,
losing something?
I don't.
It becomes a part of him.
Because,
So
okay,
you're gonna have to let that go.
I say losing something. It's like, even after I got sober, my little brother Charles continued to drink. Now, he knew I was in recovery. He knew what I did for a living at the time. But he was still my brother. I didn't hang out with him until he started drinking. Then he knew, I'm going. I'm going to sit there and watch you get drunk. So sometimes part of being able to identify our safe place, we also have to identify our own exit plan. Right? I remember when my brother lived here in Texas, my brother is named after my son is named after my brother, my best friend. And up until this happened, his Uncle Charles was one of the most important people in his life next to Mom and Dad. He went up to my brother's apartment one day. He came back to my house and said, Dad, I don't know what's going on, but I think Uncle Charles is dead. Hold up, what the hell you talking about? He said, I just went over there and he's laid across the bed. He ain't moving, he ain't breathing. I said, okay, let's go see what's going on. Now, one of the things I know about my son is scared of sick people and dead people. So when he saw my brother, he didn't even go check to see if he was breathing. He just assumed shit, something's wrong. Let me go get Dad. But anyway, we went back to the little guy, woke him up and said, he's just drunk, passed out. From that point on, Michael never went to visit my brother again. He says, Dad, I refuse to put myself in. He said, that don't even make no sense. He lived there in that apartment with the door open, drunk. He said, just like I walked in there, somebody could have walked in there and killed him. That was 18 years ago. My brother's been in the hospital, Charles, for the last 8-9 years. Charlie will talk to me, my son Michael will talk to him on the phone. Him and his wife might go by there to see him when they're in South Carolina. But other than that, he don't want nothing to do with him. That scared him to death. And I don't think he's angry about it. He is just afraid. Based on that one incident. So a safe place for him when it comes to my brothers, I just don't want to be around. And he definitely ain't going to visit him in the hospital because he ain't even going to visit his own mother in the hospital. You don't believe that. When I was in the hospital, he stopped by for a quick 5 minutes. He says, Dad, I'm going to breakfast. Going to get some breakfast. I knew I wasn't going to see him until they discharged me. And he was there to pick me up when they discharged me, but he ain't going to visit me. Michael don't play that. That's when I was surprised when my daughter-in-law told me, because I had to ask because I'm nosy. I said, was he in the what they call the delivery room? When my grandson was born, and she just started laughing. I said, okay, this must be good. She said, you wouldn't believe it, Dad. I said, what? So he was doing all right until KJ started coming out and said they had to pick him up and take him out of the delivery room. Of course, now my son said it wasn't like that, but I know it was. So some of these expectations are real. Some of these things a very positive statement, but like I said, what do they mean to you? Be supportive. I hear this all the time from my patients. I want my family, I want my friends to be supportive. I said, so if you told them I want you to be supportive, and they ask you, what does that mean, what would you tell them? Because just like this phrase, get off, has a different meaning for different people. Being supportive has different meanings for different people. Being supportive for some people make me rescue me, protect me. Right? For other people, being supportive say, just let me know that you're there no matter what. So when we tell family and friends, I want to be supportive, I need you to be supportive, we need to define what that means to you. One of the things that I know, because I'm probably as guilty of this, a lot of us are word masters. We love to throw these 18, 19-cent words out there. But then we need to be able to say, like my wife has no problem telling me, I heard what you said, what the hell did you mean? Okay, then I have to break it down. I want them to feel safe. I want to feel safe. Sometimes I just need some reassurance that it's okay. See, like I tell my patients all the time, sometimes it's okay to give yourself a pat on the back and say, hey, I had a good day. I did good today. If I'm the wife, the husband, the sister, the brother, the cousin, whatever, it's okay to pat them on the back and say, hey, I'm proud of you. You had a good day.